What if this Airbus announcement was never just about airplanes? What if this event in Mirabel, Quebec, was actually a glimpse into Canada's larger economic strategy for the future? And why are Canada's leaders suddenly talking so much about resilience, trusted partnerships, manufacturing, and middle powers? At the center of the announcement was a massive AirAsia order for 150 Airbus A220 aircraft, with the possibility of another 150 in the future. On the surface, it looked like a major aviation deal. But the speeches delivered during the event revealed something much deeper. Why did AirAsia CEO Tony Fernandes repeatedly emphasize the importance of middle powers working together? Why did he speak about crises, wars, uncertainty, and bold decisions instead of focusing only on airplanes? And why did Prime Minister Mark Carney repeatedly stress words like building, resilience, and economic independence? The answer may point toward a larger shift happening inside Canada's global strategy. Canada appears to be positioning itself as more than just a trading partner. It wants to become a manufacturing hub, a trusted middle power, and a bridge between Europe and Asia. Instead of relying too heavily on a single market or relationship, Canada seems to be building a broader network of strategic partnerships. But is this also a response to growing global instability? Are changing supply chains, geopolitical tensions, and economic uncertainty forcing countries like Canada to rethink old assumptions about trade and globalization? Another important question is why ASEAN and Asia are suddenly becoming so central to Canada's future plans. Is Canada quietly diversifying its global relationships while strengthening domestic industries at the same time? And perhaps most importantly, does this event reveal how Canada plans to compete in a world that is becoming more fragmented and economically competitive? Listen carefully to Prime Minister Mark Carney's words throughout this event, because many of the answers may already be there. Subscribe to Canada Now for more clear and unbiased breakdowns of Canada's changing role in the world.
The power that's building a stronger, more resilient, more independent Canada. A power that's deepening the links between Canada and ASEAN. Very important point, deepening the links between Canada and ASEAN to the benefit of our workers, our families, our tourists, our business people. And the very first link in that chain is the entrepreneur, the risk taker, the builder. And so let me salute Tony Fernandes, who is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, who took the risk, took a series of risks, and that's why we're all gathered today for a brighter future. And Tony and I have known each other for a bit, but when we last saw each other was in October in Kuala Lumpur for ASEAN. And we were discussing the various crises that we'd been through in the past, financial crises, COVID. And we discussed how best to respond to a world that's changing even more dramatically in many respects than then. And we shared a vision of deepening ties between those countries that in this crisis that we're still living through are choosing to build in the face of adversity. Countries that have the confidence to open up, to link their economies, to invest in their workers, to move forward, not turn back. And I emphasize to Tony that Canada is once again building big at home and creating reliable partnerships abroad, including very much with ASEAN. So Tony, thank you. Thank you for the trust you're placing in Canadian workers, in Quebec, in Mirabel. You're choosing the best at exactly the right time. And thank you for recognizing, as you did in your words, the Canadian entrepreneurs and risk takers, including Pierre Baudouin, who created the C-Series, the predecessor, that terrible plane, apparently, transformed immediately, overnight. The C-Series, the predecessor of the A220. And thank you, above all, to the workers and builders at Airbus that are now making it happen. Merci à vous, Lars, merci à vous, Guillaume, et l'équipe d'Airbus pour votre leadership. Par-dessus tout, merci aux travailleurs et travailleurs d'ici à Mirabel et de tout le Canada qui bâtissent l'excellence de notre pays dans le secteur de l'aviation. Le Canada a toujours été un pays de bâtisseurs. Dans le passé, par exemple, en février 1909, un jeune ingénieur au nom de J.A.D. McCurdy décolla depuis la banquise de lac Bras-d'Or. Ce fut le premier vol motorisé de l'histoire du Canada et le premier de tout l'Empire britannique. McCurdy était un bâtisseur et un homme audacieux. Il a consacré à des projets que d'autres jugeaient impossibles, notamment la première traversée aérienne entre la Floride et Cuba. En 1928, McCurdy quitte les exploits aériens pour bâtir cette industrie. Il s'installe à Montréal, fondé Reed Aircraft, l'un des tout premiers grands constructeurs aéronautiques du Québec. Le site qu'il a développé est devenu Canada, puis Bombardier, la ligne même qui nous a donné la série C, devenue aujourd'hui la 220 que nous célébrons. Aujourd'hui, cette industrie aérospatiale regroupe plus de 60 000 travailleurs et génère environ 15 milliards de dollars par année pour notre économie. Et cette même conviction que l'ambition et la détermination peuvent changer le cours d'un pays est celle que nous mobilisons aujourd'hui. So today, consistent with the conversation we had those few months ago, amidst this global turmoil, Canada, Quebec, we're focused on what we can control. We're building our strength at home. We're diversifying our trade with reliable partners abroad. We're catalyzing across Canada $1 trillion in total investment over the next 5 years across clean and conventional energy, trade corridors, critical minerals, AI, aerospace, defense, and beyond. We're helping to transform and train our workforce, including through last week's announcement of a $6 billion investment in Team Canada Strong to recruit, to train, to hire over 100,000 new skilled trades workers in the next 5 years.
But obviously today there's no better place than being here in Mirabel, the birthplace of the A220. We're here all together today as the 220 marks a major milestone in the existing of the program. I'm very happy to announce today that AirAsia is ordering 150 A220s for its major fleet renewal. Woo! With that announcement today, AirAsia will also become the launch customer of this new configuration that carries up to 160 passengers. Thank you. We have, Tony, with that order, we have now surpassed 1,100 orders, and that's a great milestone for the program almost 10 years after its existence. Prime Minister Carney, Premier Frechette, and ministers, your presence today underscores that aerospace isn't just about planes. It's about jobs, it's about global trade, it's about reinforcing the Canadian and the Quebec economies and the unique aviation competencies. Par votre présence aujourd'hui, vous prouvez que l'aviation, c'est bien plus que des avions. Ce sont des femmes et des hommes, des compétences clés et une passerelle vers les marchés mondiaux. Nous sommes ici.
Once. So I did it. We had a fantastic partnership before this wonderful relationship here. Our first relationship with a Canadian company was CAE, where we established a joint venture to train our pilots and engineers. And that partnership still exists, and Mark Carney was very much a family member of AirAsia. But then I came to see one of Canada's great entrepreneurs, Pierre Baudouin, who had the dream to build the C-Series, which is now the 220. And I would be remiss not to remember him, because it takes entrepreneurs with guts to go and do crazy things. And I don't want to forget him, and I told him, you know, the first plane, was he for many times kept asking me to buy the C-Series, and I said, I need you to make it a little bit longer. And unfortunately it didn't, but Airbus did, and hence we're buying it. And so thank you, Pierre. I hope you hear this somewhere. And thank you for making this dream come true as well. We're going to name our first plane after him for his efforts in bringing this plane. You know, I have a funny story. After I visited this place in 2017, Prime Minister, about 1 week later, Airbus came to see me, the guys here, Jerome, to tell me what a terrible plane it was, and that I should not buy it, all the reasons why I shouldn't buy it. They should buy the 220, the 320, the C-Series was a terrible aircraft. 6 months later, and I still have the presentation, when Airbus took over this program, the same man, Jerome, came to see me and brought me another presentation to say this is the greatest aircraft Airbus have ever made. Jerome, where are you? This is Jerome, who told me it was a lousy plane, then said it was the greatest plane. But from the moment, actually, when I flew it in 2017, Montreal is a fantastic city, and I had been drinking all night, and I turned up in Mirabel with a man. Rockefeller Plaza, I resigned and flew to London and sat in a bar thinking, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And I saw a guy called Stelios who owned an airline called EasyJet. And I thought, what a great idea. And I took a bus to Luton Airport and saw people flying to Barcelona for £6, Paris for £8, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I always say in my speeches, there's a very fine line between brilliance and stupidity. But I was only 36, and I thought if I failed, I could become a politician. Please let me out of Canada, by the way. I bought AirAsia for 25 cents. 2 planes, 200 staff. Today, despite all the crisis, we've carried 1 billion people, the fourth largest airline in Asia, and have 250 planes, with another 550 to come now with this order. We've been through many crises. You know, people will be wondering, why are we buying so many planes during this latest crisis? But crises are an opportunity to make bold decisions and to go out there and be aggressive. And wars will not go on forever. I mean, this is a crazy war that should never have happened, but it is what it is. But we're not going to slow down, and we think ahead, we look at the future. And this 220 will really, really take us to another level. You know, I look at Southeast Asia. When I looked at Southeast Asia all those years ago, I believe the skies belong to everyone. Prime Minister Carney, you look at Canada and believe that opportunities must belong to everyone as well. Today, our shared vision of accessibility and ambition at the tarmac at Mirabel, Quebec, they finally meet. Crises are opportunities. To everyone, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your warm welcome. Thank you, Prime Minister Carney, for gracing us despite your busy schedule. For all the wonderful politicians there in front of me, please give Lars more pressure to make the other 150 planes. But I say, you're looking at a dream. We were a dream to try and make flying affordable for Asians. Only 6% of Malaysians flew before AirAsia came Today, 86% of Malaysians fly. And so, but the best part is creating jobs, and I hope in our small way we will create many more jobs in Quebec and Mirabel and Canada. You have a wonderful country, you have a wonderful people. I always say to my staff, believe the unbelievable. It's okay to believe.